Hello, and welcome to a live pop culture on Deprogrammed. I'm one of your hosts, Keri Smith. I'm joined by Mystery Chris behind his avatar.
Hey, you're back.
I'm back. I missed you, and I
Yeah,
missed
me
Tiger.
too. Tell us
It,
about the trip.
well, I did a show from Germany where I talked a little bit about the trip. I talked some about God and Britney Spears, like you do.
Go hand in hand. Yeah.
Uh, But, one thing I didn't talk about in that episode, if you guys haven't seen it, it was a kerfuffle break. We called it, what did we call it? My husband helped me name it. It's a cafe und I already forgot the word. Kuchen, which is cake in Germany. And because everywhere we went, like every meal, the Germans eat a lot of cake, and cafe and Kuchen sounds like a good cafe and Kuchen break. So that's what it was called. You can watch that. Yeah. Um, it
Kuchen for Cocoa
was
Puffs.
Yeah, they eat so much cake, desserts, pastries. You would love it. But they're not obese. And
Do they not have corn syrup?
do they not have what?
Corn syrup?
Yeah, I think well some people were telling me, "Oh, it's because they have a lot higher standards for their food and they don't eat as much processed food and as much corn syrup and vegetable oil and stuff. It's more like butter and whole milk and even their desserts are not as sweet as ours. Like they don't put in as much sugar. They're sweet. They're as sweet as they need to be. They're not overly sweet, and they rely a lot on the berries and stuff for the sweetness. Plus, they walk all the time. It's they walk everywhere, and
They goose step when they walk?
no,
No.
no, in Germany,
Yeah.
no.
No.
They are. It's interesting. I don't know. I had some observations about it. I think they're a little more. Anthony and I were talking. I think they're a little more culturally Germans. Maybe it's more in their cultural DNA to be a little bit more conformist or to go along with what the government says. Do you think that's the case?
Hmm. I don't know. I know very little about modern day Germany, but it does kind of seem Europe in general just seems kind of cucked. I
Cucked.
mean, they do. So, I mean, that's the impression I get that, like you said, they tend to not push back, especially when, anything right wing gets demonized and automatically treated as the most extreme thing. So it's very hard for any kind of, to the right movement to arise, just like it's getting here in America. So,
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people in the States fell in line and conformed and a lot of people trust the government. I used to trust the government here. Um, but I think it's more so in Germany than here. I think that we have this streak of individualism baked into our cultural DNA. I mean, that's how our country started. There's this sort of, I will not bend to authority streak that runs through our culture. And um, it was just interesting having conversations with our friends about that, about the differences between, the two cultures and what Americans are like. And my friend said, we stayed with one of Anthony's old friends, and she was like, Americans seem more confident to me. And I was like, "Huh, I don't know. Maybe it's just the ones who travel to Germany, like who leave the States and actually, exchange students, stuff like that, like people who go over and are adventurous, or maybe not. Maybe Americans are more confident and I don't know, individualistic. Um, but one thing I learned is that they did not know what Karen means.
what God.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't know what a Karen was. I had to explain. It's like, the lady who's like, "I wanna speak to the manager." Like a tattletale who, like, wants to turn people in, and that's what culturally in America, that's what we've started calling that person, I guess, in the past 2 years. But they have something similar. She was like, "Oh, like, you mean Erica."
I hope there's just one woman named Erica that's talking about her specifically.
No, they use Erica for that. She was like, "Erica," and it sounds so Erica. Like,
How do you know the Germans are mad? Because they're always screaming.
they're always their their accent is, yeah, their language is, very, what's the word? Like a hammer, you know? I talked about this in the last episode, but there's that really funny guy, that comedian on YouTube who makes fun of the German language and how everything sounds so much more brutal. It's like, butterfly, papillon, farfalle, mariposa, and then Schmetterling. It's like, ah. Uh,
I just remember Conan O'Brien had a great skit like 20 years ago about a German game show called Stockenblocken. And it's a contestant goes into a room alone. They have 90 seconds to arrange all the objects on a table in perfectly 90 degrees, parallel with the edges of the table. And then at the end of the 90 seconds, a guy dressed up as a Nazi comes in and measures it. And if they're off by even just a tad, they get beaten to death.
no.
Like, yeah.
Conan, I miss Conan back before he
Yeah.
got converted.
Is he? But is he on HBO yet? Because his TBS show ended, and they said he was going to do something with HBO, but I haven't heard anything. I have to look it up, see if he's still.
The last I heard from him or saw of him was the video he did with my former client, comedian W. Kamau Bell, where
Mm,
he was having his come to woke Jesus moment
oh,
and learning about his white privilege and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is the beginning of the end of his sense of humor.
oh, wait. Was it, like, were they making they still trying to be funny while doing it, or was it just serious?
No, it was serious.
Uh,
It was totally serious. And
uh,
people should go look up that video. It's creepy. It's like watching someone get indoctrinated in real time into a cult, like peer pressure. And Kamau told him he was going to assign a racial counselor for him. I forget what he called it, but yeah, I know. I
I'll be
know.
pimped off 1,000.
Oh, man. You guys, if you're joining us tonight, if you're watching live, thank you so much for being here. Hello, Nerdy Girl. I see you in the chat. Adam. Hello, Adam and Therese and everyone. Scott, a lot of familiar faces. We are going to be talking about the Little Mermaid tonight and the controversy. The big controversy around it. But before we do, I wanted to make an announcement. We are launching a brand new pop culture channel. It's just for the pop culture episodes. We're expanding the deprogrammed series. Is that what you would call it? And so, hello, Sonora Baptiste. So I wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind, please follow the new pop culture channel because we're going to start streaming there soon instead of streaming here. We'll keep the regular, like the main deprogram channel for the interviews and kerfuffy break, and we'll be doing the fun, frivolous pop culture episodes Wednesday nights, same time on the new pop culture channel, as well as we have some ideas for some other fun, entertaining things. So I put the link, we pinned the link. Oh, it's called Pop Culture here. And it's pinned at the top of the live chat. So there it is. You can find it there. But thank you guys very much for hanging out. And I hope to see you on that channel. And we have some, I'm not sure if we're going to stream there next week yet, but we'll do so in the next couple weeks for sure. And I think we plan to start with a bang. So you're working on something. Should we say what it is or no? Will you leave it a surprise?
You say we just don't know when we're going to do it. We're going to figure out, but we can say what we're going to do.
You tell them. It's so much fun.
So we're going to do something called a woke-tacular. So I do want to go briefly in the show, go over the state of woke, I call it, and kind of discuss specifically what's said in the GLAD report about diversity. And then after that, both Keri and I are working on our own synopsis of movies that are going to be quote unquote woke. We're going to wokeify it.
Yes.
A movie or a book or TV show or something, and we're gonna create a whole synopsis, make it as woke as possible, and maybe have some images and stuff. And I'm working on a couple of movies that I think you're gonna enjoy. So look out for
I
that.
can't wait. He won't even tell me what his woke movie scripts are about, but he's writing these scripts. And the thing is, Mystery Chris is a really funny writer. So I don't even know what he's working on, but I know it's going to be very funny. So I can't wait. Um, Hi, Lance. Hi, guys. Hey, Murder Nits. So while I was gone, one other quick announcement. I had a couple of deprogrammed interviews air. If you missed them, one was with Murder Nits, Tabitha, who's in the chat. And you guys can go and check that one out. That was about her realizing she was in a woke knitting circle from hell, and a cult like knitting circle that she had to leave. And then I also got to talk with my friend Matt, who is another person who woke up and left the left in the past couple years. That interview was I love talking to him. I love talking to people about like what was that turning point for you? Like what was I think what James Lindsay calls the woke breaking point? Like what's the thing that caused the scales to fall from your eyes? And I said to him, it's a bit like being at an AA meeting, because the person's telling you their story and it's their story, but there's enough similarities that you're like, yes, like I get that. And there's a dark sense of humor about some of it. And you share all these like, I know what that's like, to be unfriended by everyone after I woke up. And I know what that's like to have this, people come after you in this way. And it's really cathartic, I think, just talking to one another and meeting each other. Ryan Bailey, you must be new here. He says, woke knitting circle. The hell? Yes. Yes, Ryan. Yes.
Everything gets touched, by the way.
Yes. If you're coming over from Geeks and Gamers or the Nerdrotic crowd, you know about woke infiltrating entertainment, but you may not know that it has thoroughly infiltrated the online knitting community, the Instagram knitting community, and there have been a number of battles and wars. And I'm making light of it, but it's actually pretty effed up. Like there were a lot of cancellations and a hospitalization and all kinds of crazy stuff that's happened. So yeah. Anyway, it's always funny when somebody new finds out about the SJW knitting wars. Like, welcome. And then thank you, Gary Thomas, for the super chat, $10. He says, hello, KS and MC. I really enjoy your pop culture analysis, and I hope that you do one on Korean dramas one day. I just recently got into them, and they're a lot better than Western entertainment these days. Oh, wow. Do you watch Korean dramas?
No, never.
Okay, we have to add this to our list because I've never watched them either. My husband used to live in Korea, and he knows a lot about Korean pop culture, and I would be interested to maybe have him on that episode to talk about it, and we could watch some. That's really interesting, Gary, to hear that you think they're better than Western entertainment, because the K-pop isn't, I don't think.
Why are you so racist, Keri? Jeez.
I don't like K-pop.
What about
I know it's
Psy? You don't like Psy?
is that one
Gangnam
of the
Style?
K-pop? Oh, that's
Gangnam
kind of
Style.
funny. That's not really
That
K.
guy?
That's not like the boy band K-pop stuff.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
no.
about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
way
Was it
into.
BTS or something? Is that what the
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a ton of them, and they're like super fey.
Yeah. Did
Like
you
they're
ever
very.
there's like a short documentary, I'm sure there's a few on YouTube about the behind the scenes of that, and it's actually pretty dark, like how these kids are raised from a young age to like be in these bands, and they have to sacrifice like everything, their
Yes,
social lives and schooling, and it's just like they're all hoping that, trying to get in on this K-pop thing, and few of them make it, of course. It's like it's crazy.
I have not seen those documentaries, but that sounds right up my alley. I'm and yeah, I think they take it culturally as seriously as they take education and everything else in Korea. It's like, if you were going to be in the boy band, you start at a very young age
Yeah.
getting ready for it. I did want to answer this question. It's not a super chat, but Curio says, what happened to the last Kerfuffy break with Cameron Pasha? I went to watch after it aired and it was gone. I am sorry. That episode I took down because my 2 friends who I brought on, it did not go well. I thought it would. I thought it was gonna go great. It did not. And my friend, Julianne, uh, yelled some things at Cameron about Islam, and I couldn't moderate it well. And I'm sorry to both of them, and sorry to you guys. And hey, this happens when you try to have open conversations with people about different beliefs. And yeah, it was a learning experience.
It's real
But
life. It's like the real world.
hmm?
It's like the real world, real life.
Yeah, it is. Somebody told me if I was a Craven YouTuber, not Craven, what's the word? Greedy. What's that word for greedy that I'm thinking of? Anyway, that you would have been like monetized it, like, come watch the fight. Like, no,
Sunday,
like
Sunday, Sunday.
Sunday, clipped it. Yeah, no. I just felt really bad. Okay. Grifter YouTuber. Yes, that's what a grifter YouTuber would do, I think, probably. Amy says it was her fault. No, it wasn't, honey. There was nothing that could be done. Um, Bradley says, first time watching live. Look at those dogs in your profile pic. How cute. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we're gonna get started now. I think we've gone through our announcements. Oh, one last one. You Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the encyclopedia of deprogrammed. Wikipedia snippet says, "Hello, Keri. You were hatless," and a couple of pics on Twitter.
Oh, scandalous. Ugh.
Thanks for keeping track. You're pretty funny. I don't always wear the hat. Okay, let's do this. So, if you guys have been on the internet in the past week, I'm sure one of the things you've heard about is that there's a huge racist backlash to the trailer, the new trailer for the live action Little Mermaid film from Disney. And we're going to talk about that. Let's see. Should we play the trailer? Do you think I should turn the
Yeah,
music off?
I don't know. We can mute it. I mean, she's just singing.
Okay, we'll mute it. If you guys haven't seen it, here goes. Now, one thing I'll say about this trailer is I think it's pretty terrible. Not be, well,
It was just like, that's pretty terrible. The end.
it's pretty terrible CGI. I'm not even talking about the casting choice. I'm talking about the CGI looks pretty bad and it's very dark. It's very hard to see.
Before you play it, like, were you ever a fan of the original Little Mermaid movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
I was just curious to see if you had any kind of emotional attachment to the
Oh,
original.
oh no, I don't have an emotional attachment to it. I was
Okay.
a fan of it. I mean, I was young. I liked it, but
Yeah.
I actually have more of an attachment to the original um Danish fairy tale, which is much
Mm.
darker. And we can
I've
talk
never
about that.
read it.
Oh my goodness. Where's my book? Okay, here, let's hit play and I'm going to find it.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? I'm turning the sound off, guys, so hopefully we don't get a strike on this one.
Yeah. Oh, bored already.
Okay. Fish.
That was like Aquaman. So you just hear her singing.
See
You're
how
like,
dark
oh,
it
what's
is?
singing? Oh, there's a mermaid. Does she have two tails?
It's so dark. I mean, is this a horror movie? Do you know what I
There's
mean?
nothing she can do about her skin color, Keri.
No, I'm not talking about her skin color. I'm not talking about. Okay. And there you see her, and this is what at least the news is saying, that everyone's like
But
up in an uproar about the fact that it's a black actress.
and they gave her orange hair. They gave
Yeah,
her orange
they kept
hair.
her hair red.
Like this is
It's so hard to see. It's like, why don't you brighten it up a little? You're Disney. You have a lot of money, you know? Okay,
yeah.
so I don't know if you guys can see here. There's 713,000 likes. I think they took I think they got rid of the dislikes, because at some point I heard it was at over 1.2 million dislikes.
Hold on, I can check it out. Hold on.
See
I
if you
have
can
the
find it.
thing installed where you can see the dislikes. So let's
What?
see. Yeah, you
I
didn't
didn't
know about
know.
that?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's a little add-on for it. Let's see. Where's the trailer? Oh, okay, here it is. Um, so it is currently 716,000 upvotes and 1.9 million downvotes.
1.9 million downvotes. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's insane.
Almost 2 million dislikes. That's amazing. Dislikes are at the bottom of the iceberg, says Wikipedia snippet. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's bad. Okay. So kind of getting ratioed. Yeah. Um, you can see why they've removed the ability to see that, right up, unless
Yeah,
you have the special magic app that you have. Um, but yeah, people don't like it. And so what I've seen, and what I'm sure you guys have seen, is a ton of headlines over the past few days about how there's a racist backlash, and basically they're trying to portray anyone who doesn't like the trailer or who's downvoting it as being a racist. Have you seen this?
yeah, yeah. It's predictable. Like I said, it's Mad Libs. Like they just have the template ready and
Mhm.
fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what it is; they'll just say racist.
Yeah. I think I think one of the things that they're the reason I called this episode race bait marketing is, I think now they've gotten to a place where they know that the audience is going to react negatively to the crap products that they're putting out, the crap trailers. Disney also, people had a big problem with the Pinocchio trailer, or don't like it. I think the Pinocchio trailer is terrible also, for several reasons, but they know that the audience is fed up with them looking down their noses and lecturing us morally and telling us, you guys, the whole audience is racist, and we're going to show you things. We're going to change things and show you this ideology that you need in your life because you guys are deplorables. Like, that's sort of how they look at the audience, is, you're beyond redemption, and we don't care what you want or what your actual complaints are. You're just racist, and we know you're not going to like this, so we're going to do more of it. I think they bake this into the marketing now, where
Undoubtedly.
you think so?
Yes, definitely. They know that it's going to provoke white people because we live in a culture where white people are not allowed to have an in-group preference. You
Right.
can't say like say if you are only attracted to other white people, you can't say that out loud, or people will
Yes.
call you racist. I, as a black man, I can say I only like black chicks, or I don't want to be around black people. But white people can't, and they know there's going to be backlash to that because you're really giving people two options. Either they can accept like collective guilt and go, "Yeah, we white people have dominated poor black people. We gotta give up some of our stuff to them." Or you could take the other one and say, "No, I'm not guilt. There's no guilt, white guilt on me. If I want to see a white character remain white, then I'm going to say it, and I don't care if you call me racist or not." And so they know that there's going to be people who are angry and people who are going to go to the internet and make their frustrations known, and then they can
Yes.
use this as excuse to go with the white supremacists are review bombing Lord of the Rings, or Little Mermaid, or whatever, fill in blank. It's the same thing they've been doing since Ghostbusters 2016.
You're exactly right. They've already got the playbook of what they're going to say. If you don't like it, they're going to call you a racist or a sexist in the case of Ghostbusters. They're not going to actually deal with the content of any of the criticisms. They're just going to say it's all racism, it's all sexism, when most of the time that's not the case. And then they'll
No,
go and find some random tweets from bots. Some of these people look like bots. If you go and read the articles about the racism and you're like, okay, they found a racist, they did find one racist tweet from someone, or let me check out that person. You're like, oh, the account was created 3 days ago and they have 0 followers and that this is their only tweet. I'm like, who you're finding these randos and saying that this is what everyone's saying, everyone's saying this.
And they
No, they're
always
not.
assume that's always white people too, because there's people like me. There's certain characters that I want to remain white. I want Superman to remain white. I don't probably say that. I don't know white. I would love to see. Hey, if you have some cool, interesting black characters, great, do them. But they're not doing them. They're lazy. They're taking popular white characters, successful white characters, changing their race, and then calling that progress. And it's insulting to me as a black man. It should be insulting to every black person. I was watching a highlight reel before the show of all these black celebrities like Whoopi Goldberg and all these other people going to Twitter and saying, yes, queen, all that stuff, saying how great it was. You have a black, Little Mermaid. And it's like, you really, you're not as pro-black as you really think you are. You do that because you're taking something successful, something white and successful, and then trying to pass it off as black. I mean, I don't understand how anybody who calls themselves pro-black could actually go along with that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Instead of creating new characters. Well,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
what
do
in
you
the
remember
chat.
years ago when Michelle Rodriguez came out and said that, and she got in a lot of criticism where she was saying, hey, she's all for diversity, but should have superheroes that of original superheroes that of certain races or gender or whatever. And I when I look at something like the Marvel stuff, like they're doing some of the race stuff. They do have like say Camilla Khan or Miss Marvel, or she is America Chavez, which are
Mhm.
minority characters. They're original characters, which I support making those original characters. But if the audiences don't like them, they should accept that, hey, this original character who happens to be a minority isn't liked by the fan base, not because of race, because it's just not an interesting character, but they won't accept
Right.
that.
They won't accept that. They never accept like the nuance or, you know, no, it's not the race of this character. It is the lack of imagination, or like Tweet Girl says, it's not about race. We want original stories. And not just original stories, but like good writing and good CGI. And maybe brighten up the trailer a little bit.
But and thing is, I've been saying this, like we got spoiled by the Marvel movies because prior to even during the Marvel, the 10-year run where they had mostly good movies, that was unusual for any studio to make a bunch of movies in a particular franchise, particularly within a 10-year period where all were very good. Most of the times they start off good and start to suck. And so we I think a lot of people start thinking that was the new normal, that Hollywood's gonna start making like interesting stories, even if they happen to be based on old characters. But criticism I and many people had during the Marvel stuff and even before that was that studios were running out of ideas, that they
Mm.
were poaching old ideas from the 70s, 60s,
You know,
80s, remaking these movies, remaking these TV shows. And once the woke stuff came along, they kept doing the same thing, but then they just made it woke. And so you still had these uncreative, creative bankrupt ideas, studios putting out these bad movies with, just different colored people and using that as criticism, or a shield from criticism, even though this marketing tactic that they do never helps support whatever they're doing because it still fails. Ghostbusters 2016 still failed. 355, that female action movie of Jessica Chastain that came out, failed. The Charlie's Angels reboot, that one failed. All these movies that they made quote unquote woke that failed, even though they had their minions in the media go out and start attacking people and using the same tactics. They tried to do it with Obi-Wan series, and it never works. They think that they can, even though a lot of people go on Twitter and will support that show or whatever, just because they think there's a bunch of alt-right people attacking it because of race, gender, whatever, they never go and actually watch it. They're not true fans of that actual TV show or movie or whatever that's being made. And so it never works, but they won't give it up. They won't stop. They just keep doubling
they
down.
won't stop, and they get the people who, like you said, the ones who are coming out of the woodwork now on Twitter to be like, "Yes, queen," and, you know, "Black girls are ruling the world," and all that stuff. It's like, they know that if they use this playbook, they can activate that contingent of people.
Hmm.
They can activate the woke to feel like this is a war and that there's a bunch of crazy racists out there who don't want to see the movie because they're racists, and that most of America's racist. It's insane. And
But
that it's your duty, it's your patriotic duty to go see our new shit Disney movie. Right?
yeah, and think about these race swaps. Like, it only goes one way. It's always, a white character being turned not white, black, or whatever.
Yes.
But think about, say, like Battlestar Galactica reboot, which we've talked about and we praise. I love that
Yes.
show. They actually did. There was two black characters in the original series, Colonel Ty and Boomer, who were black men. In the reboot series, Colonel Ty became a white man. Boomer became an Asian female. So they took characters that were minorities and changed them either to white or to another minority thing. And so that I would not classify as woke. But today it's very clear that they're trying to antagonize white people, trying to piss them off by only doing white characters and turning them black.
Well, it only goes one way now. Yeah. And also in Battlestar, I mean, they made Starbuck into a woman,
Yes.
so they were race and gender swapping without they weren't following the woke rules, let's put it that way.
Well,
Because they were
we
just go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No,
you.
you. Are we related, or is it? What's going on
We
here?
talk to each other too much, maybe.
No,
No,
right.
you.
Right. I'll go. Actually, I forgot my question. You go. I'll come back.
Well, here, Tara T says, but Battlestar Galactica was well written. Yes, that's what made all the difference. Is that they didn't. What I'm saying is, when they gender swapped and they race swapped, they weren't doing that to make some woke point. Because if they were, they wouldn't have made Colonel Ty a white man. Like they wouldn't have gone that direction with that character. They were it wasn't based on woke rules, and the writing was great. The point wasn't to sell us. They didn't go out and do a whole marketing campaign about like, and now Starbuck is a woman and now it's really going to kick ass. Like they didn't try to do that. And they didn't have to, because it was a great show.
Hmm.
You know,
Well,
these new woke recastings, all they have are the recastings. That's all they have to sell the show with.
you remember for a previous episode, we read an interview with Ronald Moore, who did the Battlestar Galactica reboot and famous Star Trek writer. I have a man crush on him because he's an awesome writer. But in his interview, the person is asking him about, his decision to, gender swap Starbuck. And, the interviewer was trying to see like, you must be making some kind of statement about gender roles and stuff. And, Ronald Moore is like, no, not really. He was just doing what he thought would create a more interesting dynamic. He wasn't trying to make some larger statement about, the role of women in society or whatever, like so many of the shows and movies you see today, which are clearly trying to redefine gender roles because they think that, we, the people, think that women, can't be in a certain field or job or whatever. And that's the reason why there aren't more women in these particular fields. Has, according to them, has nothing to do with biology, because it's just a social construct where, again, according to them, that society's telling women that they can't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, which is bullshit. Society's not telling me that. You know who's telling me that? The woke people. The woke people keep planting that idea. They're implanting that idea into the minds of little girls right now. They're like, society thinks you can't do this. Society thinks you can't be in STEM. Society doesn't want you in movies. Society doesn't want to see you in a main character, see a woman as a main character. None of that's true, but they're teaching little girls that. They're implanting that idea.
They are. And I remember reading about some test, a study someone did where they had a group of women and a group of men who applied for an engineering job, like a starting out, entry level engineering position, but they disguised the voice so the interviewer didn't know it was a male or female that they were talking to. And so once these people did the interviews and got the feedback, the ones that were, dismissed, didn't go any further in the hiring process. The people running a study say, hey, well, we're going to follow back up with you in a few months to see if, where you're at and what you're thinking about engineering and stuff. And so they end up going back and following up with these, people. And they found out that a lot of the men who, rejected originally ended up reapplying, and a lot of women didn't. And so they asked the women, well, why didn't you, reapply? And these women thought because the interviewer was sexist, that, there must be some kind of bias that the interviewer had, and, dismissing them from, the hiring process, even though the
Yes.
interviewer couldn't even hear, if they're a man or a female with the voice changer modulator or whatever.
Isn't that amazing? That's what woke does. That's what social justice, that's what woke does to women, to black people, to gay people. It implants the idea that the whole world is against you, and if you have a setback of any kind, that may as well give up because it's the world stacked against you, and it's because of your sex or your race or your sexuality or something. And that is not the case. I know this. I have lived experience, to use their phrase, with this. I mean, I used to hold myself back totally. I've talked about this before, but when I worked in entertainment, yes, there was sexism. Yes, I saw it. I mean, in my opinion, there was. Yes, there was kind of like this boys club culture uh, at the networks, like the network executives, that kind of, and maybe at some of the agencies. Um, but it wasn't always the case. And what happened is that I would psych myself out. I would go into the room with a chip on my shoulder expecting people to be sexist. And when you go in with that attitude, it's what do you expect to happen? Like, I was shooting myself in the foot a lot of the time. And I'm just sharing that because I know this happens, and what you're saying about the women who decided not to go back for a second interview or what have you, because they're like, well, it must be sexism. It causes you psychologically over time to ruin a lot of opportunities, or to not take opportunities, because you're coming in assuming that the world is against you because of your sex or your race or something. It's not. They're not
Right.
doing kids any service. It's a
Yeah.
disservice.
If you're telling them that the world is stacked against people who look like you, then why even try?
Yeah. Why even try? Um, I want to put this on the screen. Tara T, hello, lady. She gave us a $10 super chat. She says the fans are doing to the Little Mermaid trailer what was done to the Lord of the Ring of Power trailers. It's glorious. It is. Here's what I think is happening. You've got this pattern, and you can't look at the fan reaction to this Little Mermaid trailer in isolation, like these articles are trying to do. You can't look at it in isolation. You have to look at it in the context of what's been happening the past few years in entertainment. The fans have been shat on. They've been treated with contempt by the studios. They've been called all kinds of names, defamed, called racist, called sexist, and they've been told that they're troglodytes, basically, Neanderthals, and that what they want and what they're asking for, which is quality entertainment, they're first of all being gaslit and saying they're not even that's not even being acknowledged, that that's what they're asking for, quality entertainment. Instead, they're being gaslit, and they're being told, no, what you want is like racism and sexism. We're not going to give you that because you're terrible people. And so the fans over the past few years have been getting louder. You see this with the success of shows like Nerdrotic, Friday Night Tights, Geeks and Gamers, like as Hill versus Babyface, Drunk 3PO, all those guys. Their shows are so popular because the fans are like happy to find that they're not the only ones who are noticing this contempt, and the fans are getting louder, and they're getting more vocal. They're people are getting over their silence. They're starting to realize, hey, it doesn't matter if everyone in the world calls me a racist, because I know I'm not. I'm still going to say I don't like this piece of crap. And they're saying it, and they're pushing back. And so to see almost 2 million dislikes on the Little Mermaid trailer, that's part of the, you have to look at the whole context. Like, that's where we're at now, where the fans are fighting back and saying, no, like, we're not going to let the critics tell us what it is that we are. We know we're not that. We're just asking for quality entertainment. I don't
How
know.
dare you?
How dare you? I just wanted to show you this. Kevin Anderson had a question for you when you said you didn't want to ever see Superman um, recast as a black Superman. He said, "What about a black James Bond?"
How's a black James Bond supposed to survive in Russia? You're like, oh, that
What?
guy, spy, look at him. You're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, nice try, buddy.
I'll
We're
tell
going
you what.
to grind.
Are they still talking about Idris Elba? Is he going to be
There were
James
rumors
Bond?
of that. I think he said he wasn't interested, and he's also getting older too.
Well, I
But
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind a black James Bond if they cast the right person and it's great casting and great writing. I would not mind that. However, I do not want to see a female James Bond. Please don't do that shit.
Jane Bond.
Please don't do that shit. No.
It's coming. We'll eventually do it. Yeah.
Uh, and then Murdernet says Brandy was a great Cinderella. You couldn't get a more diverse cast. Whoopi as the mom, Whitney Houston as the fairy godmother. This feels cheap. Yes, and that's the other thing is they want to pretend like again they're lying to people. They're like America and society are so racist. We never had a black prince. We never had a black Disney princess before. We've never had a black. We've never. This is the first time ever. Oh my god, it's the first time ever. No, it's not. We saw. We had Brandy as a black Cinderella, and nobody cared. Do you remember anybody caring? Nobody cared. Am I right? Am I remembering this wrong? They're trying to pretend like there's this racist cabal of most of America and all the fans are. Where were they when Brandy was cast as Cinderella? I don't remember that. Nobody gave a shit.
They're coming out with a new Snow White. Yeah, who's not going to be white? So
That's weird.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me change the
Okay.
last name, right?
Here we go. Binary Bard. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Says everyone has a different name for it. I called it outrage marketing. The critical drinker calls it rage baiting. Oh, I didn't know that. Look, everybody is thinking along the same lines, though. That's true. It is rage baiting. It is outrage marketing, race bait marketing, race baiting. It's all of that stuff. Like they are selling things to us now based on creating division and creating hatred and contempt in these different groups and they're just that's how they sell politics to us. So why not sell entertainment that way, right?
But you ever notice, like, even though they talk about diversity, there still isn't a lot of, say, I don't know, Native Americans or Asians or Hispanics. Like, usually when these swaps occur, usually it's male to female, and usually it's white, but sometimes it can be black. But that's pretty much what's dominant in these diverse, initiatives.
That's true. I was thinking if if we were less if we had less scruples, that my husband we could start marketing his career based on the fact that he's Latinx. Like, Latinx singer here.
I
Don't
told you I
have
wish
any
I could go back to college in this climate and,
right.
use my black card as a way to
Would
get
you
to know
do it?
these.
Would you play the card?
Yeah, I'd be like, it's so hard being a black man today in America. It's just, just get so lonely at night sometimes. Just, I wish I had someone to hold me.
Is this your Tinder profile?
Try it. See how it works.
Do you ever do online dating?
I've done it in the past. I did a few years ago, and I guess it's just right around
Oh, that's
the rise of
right.
Trump. And I remember, I think it was OK Cupid I got on, and I got off with like I deleted my account in like half a day because there's like women with purple hair saying, if you're a Trump supporter, don't message me. I was like, I won't, bitch. There's other feminist types, like if you're one that was saying if you're a fake male feminist, don't message her. I was like, well, all male feminists are fake.
Did you send her that?
No.
So did you in your profile I do remember this now, you were telling me how all the women were woke and even, like, explicitly putting stuff in their profile like that, like, "Don't bother swiping whichever direction if you like Trump." But were you in your profile, were you obviously based or no?
No, I tried to be subtle. I tried to put like, um, stuff in there about reading some Jordan Peterson stuff. And so hopefully people can like. I did run across one woman who was Jordan Peterson fan. I was like, hey, I tried to chat her up. She didn't reply. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, I didn't. But if I ever do it again, I probably will. I just don't care anymore now. I would just put even though I don't fashion myself as conservative, but I'm libertarian-ish. So I might.
You should just put something. You're like, I don't care anymore. It should just be like, I never want to see a black Superman. Call me Mystery Chris.
I love Song of the South. That's great.
What? Okay, a couple more comments. Max R, thank you for the super chat. Says the people saying if the person on screen doesn't look like you, it's not relatable. Can't look past something literally skin deep. That's racist. That's true. Actually, Max also commented, I saw it earlier, but I lost it. He said something about being inspired by Lando.
Yeah. I,
What?
so with the race stuff, like they talk about, so good to see representation. To like we have a video which maybe we could show of those black girls reacting to Little Mermaid, and I'm not going to immediately dismiss in saying that say being black a minority when you see a black person that there isn't some like, oh hey, they're black kind of like thing. But to me it was never that big of a deal, because like even though there were black superheroes when I was a kid, I still love Batman. He's still my favorite superhero. Was white. I didn't go, oh well, he's white, I can't be Batman. And so like if this was the 1950s, then maybe I could kind of understand that. Like if there wasn't a lot of black people on TV, I can understand a lot of black people, particularly living in the South, might resonate with a black character more. But now, no, I don't think that I don't think people resonate as strongly as what they're trying to say. We do, or whoever the minority group is.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where it's not either or. Like how do I, gosh, I'm having trouble even sometimes. Do you have trouble getting the thoughts into words and out of your mouth?
Yeah, I have a Biden
um
moment all the time. Yeah.
okay, I'm having a Biden moment. I don't think it's either or. I think it's can be both. Oh God, I hate that I'm going to use this word, empowering, but
Hmm.
I think it can be a positive thing for
Hmm.
kids to see representations and people who look like them in the media. I do. Absolutely. I think that's true. But I also think you don't need that. And
Hmm.
they try to do an either or. They try to say um you must believe that it has no impact whatsoever, which I don't. Or you again, I'm having trouble why am I having trouble putting this into the words? Can you summarize what I'm saying?
Yeah, they give you a kind of false dichotomy where you
Yes.
have to, choose one of, two options when there's actually other options. There's much more nuance to it. And the thing is, like with a lot of the social justice stuff, there are certain seeds of truth in it, certain grains of truth, but they just take it to crazy town. And
They
so when
take
they
it to
talk
crazy town.
like systemic racism, like, yeah, systemic racism existed in the past, and I would argue not really today, but in the past, undoubtedly it existed, and undoubtedly it had effect on us blacks. But at the same time, so many other things factored
Right.
into the culture and ended up influencing the decisions that every individual who happens to be black made in their life. And so there's no way to really isolate just what effect racism had on blacks, and because there's too many factors. There's
Yeah.
just assumption with all this stuff. Like at my workplace, they embrace the diversity, equity, inclusion stuff, and I haven't said anything, but I've always fantasized by getting up and saying, you're being kind of racist by assuming that all groups have the same interests when it comes to job types. Like we don't
Yes.
all have the same values. And
Yeah.
you're basically trying to say like, oh, all of them should be like us white people. So like if it's like in some, I don't know, tech field, and there's not a lot of black people in there, and they're like, well, the reason why there's not a lot of black people here is because we have unconscious bias, or whatever the hell they call it. When a big part could be just a lot of black people are not interested in doing that. I mean, we know this when it comes to sports. When all the black kids who are interested in playing sports, the majority of them want to play what two sports? Basketball and football. We can see this borne out statistics with professional sports leagues. 58% of NFL players are black. 74% of NBA players are black. Guess how many players in the Major League Baseball are black?
Well, it's racist in baseball against black people.
Well, it's less than 8%. Yeah, but you don't hear people saying that baseball is racism.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a cultural
You
thing.
know what though? That's gonna happen eventually. That'll be in the late stages of woke when it starts to when it's I mean, I think it's already starting to crumble, but when it's really all coming down, like that'll be in the late stages. You can't prevent that from happening. At some point they're gonna say there's not enough Filipinos in you know in basketball. There's not enough Jewish men in basketball. Like they will do this.
I just want to see him like get a bunch of people in there who are not qualified to do their job and then
Yeah.
just fail miserably. It's gonna happen. It's gonna
But currently, they're not doing that in sports. You know why? Because on a gut level, they know that the games would suck if they choose people based on anything other than talent.
hmm
That's why they haven't done it to sports yet, but they will eventually. But they'll take that standard and they'll do it in the workplace. They'll do it with these other careers. They'll say, and with these college admissions, we've got the Supreme Court about to deliver a decision about whether or not it's okay for colleges to discriminate against Asian and white students. Because they're basically saying, well, we're not going to select students based on talent, or in these other career, in STEM, we're not going to select employees based on talent. We're going to select based on race and sex and all these other things. That's bullshit.
hmm
If you if you'll do it there, why won't you do it in sports? Because deep down, you still want to watch a really good game, and that's not the way to select your players.
hmm
The way to select your players is based on picking the best.
Did you recently hear Tyler Perry came out and kind of spoke out against like this big push for diversity? Like, he was saying, like, obviously he's saying he's for diversity, but he was saying that a lot of people are being put into these jobs that they're not truly qualified for, and that's just hurting the craft. And he's absolutely right about that.
Yes. That's part of the reason why when you were talking about the studios and they just keep recycling and remaking old properties, old movies, old TV shows, because they don't have any ideas. And part of that is because they've brought this woke stuff not only on screen but behind the camera. They're now picking writers not based on the best writers. They're picking writers based on race and sex and sexuality and all the check boxes again. So what does that mean? Well, you're not selecting for the most talented people. So of course the quality is going to suffer. I'm
hmm
reading right now. So if you guys want to be a part of the Deprogrammed Book Club for this month, we're reading Political Panorology. It's so good. I can't recommend this book enough. And at the beginning, or maybe halfway through, there's one part where he's talking about what happens in late stage totalitarianism. He's talking about totalitarianism, any kind. We currently are living through a woke totalitarianism. But there have been many different kinds throughout history. And he said what happens is once it's hit a critical mass and it's come in culturally, or the government brings it in by force, whatever. Once it's hit this critical mass and it becomes popular enough that this ideology that is totalitarian, is being used to determine who gets hired for positions and placed into different positions in society, then everything starts to crumble. And he's talking about, what happened in the Soviet Union and how they were making decisions for hiring, even at colleges. They were making decisions based on who was in the party and who wasn't. And they were, you know, patting each other on the back and promoting their comrades into these positions that they weren't qualified for, and in the military as well. And everything started to fall apart. That's what happens, and that's what's going to happen. That's what's already happening with woke. I was on my flight, coming back from Germany. I had a moment where I was like, I really hope that they picked the best pilot for this job. Remember when they were talking about how they need more diversity at the airlines with pilots?
That too.
What?
I've been thinking about that too.
It's scary. I don't give a shit what color my pilot is, what sex they are, what sexuality. I don't care. None of that matters at all. You better be picking the best pilots, okay? Like that's who.
It's like,
That's
going into for a heart surgery and saying, "Wait, is the doctor a person of color? I want that's black. Only a black hands can touch this heart."
only black hands.
Somebody's saying it somewhere. But yeah,
Somebody somewhere.
did I ever tell you how crazy it was? So at work, I had one of those implicit bias trainings, and the young woman who was leading the uh, meeting, she was, half black, mulatto, um, and so she.
Can't say that word anymore. You're gonna get us.
I mean, I was just talking about gelato. It's my favorite type of gelato ice cream. But anyway, uh, that's when I open a place called that. But anyway, so
You're
yes,
punching your black heart a lot tonight.
I can't help it. I'm a black on black crime. Um, so yeah, so she was giving this speech, whatever, and she was talking about how she in a previous job was hired because of she was fulfilling some diversity quota, and she was wrestling with that. Like you could see her, like she's telling the story, wrestling with that, trying to convince herself that she was hired based on her merit and not because of color of her skin. So she's like saying, "Well, I tell myself that I was hired because I'm the best person for the job." And it was like it's so weird not her not realizing how ironic it is what she's pushing in these various jobs that she's speaking at are things that she's wrestled with because a lot of people, I think most people, get a great deal of their worth based on what they do, like earning things.
Yes.
That's how people find
Yes.
fulfillment in life, and you take that away, what you get. And so I think a lot of people, even though it may seem appealing at first because it's a way to artificially promote themselves or push themselves up the ladder, corporate ladder, I think a lot of them are going to find out that it's not fulfilling. They're going to question their own skills, and future
Yes.
employers are going to question their skills as well.
Oh gosh, I wish I had this part in political ponerology pulled up to read to you. This is exactly what he was saying. He was like, in these totalitarian societies, what happens is when you over promote the less qualified people, that over time they can't meet the demands. And they question if they got the job, like you just said, psychologically, they know, or they at least question if they got the job based on merit. And that over time, like their performance isn't that great in these roles, of course, because a lot of times they weren't picked based on quality or on talent. They were picked because they're part of the ideology, whatever that totalitarian ideology happens to be. And so they start to become more resentful, and they start to try and hold on to the power they've acquired in that position by backbiting other people and pushing more talented people down and making sure they don't promote any talented person to their level, right? Or above them, and keeping the talented ones down. And then what happens to the talented ones, because they're not being their talents are not being put to use, is that they start to become resentful, and they actually become less productive than the untalented people in the higher positions, because they become so resentful and angry about the fact that that their talents aren't being used,
Yeah.
and that they see people who are less qualified being promoted above them. And so every way you slice it, you have a less productive workplace.
Yeah.
You have people who are unhappy, whether they're the ones that are over promoted or under promoted, and it falls apart. Like, the natural hierarchy of things is based on talent. It doesn't matter if you're talking about basketball, flying a plane, brain surgery, getting into Harvard, whatever the field is, it's based on talent.
Yeah. They just
Quit
reject.
trying to mess with it.
They don't like hierarchies. That's what it comes down to. So they try to invalidate it by saying that it's inherently racist, therefore it needs to be done away with completely.
Yes. Ah, it's so funny we got on this from Little Mermaid, but
Yeah, but hey, maybe a good time to show that quick video of the story about the AI. Uh,
yes. Okay, let's do that. Really quickly, this I thought would make you laugh. Alan Scott says, "If you punch your black card one more time, you get a free coffee." Black coffee, of course.
you remember that dude that went to like Starbucks and like demanded a free coffee? He was a black guy, and then he was like saying, "This is race. Give me a free coffee." And they're like, "Okay, yes, sir." I've always
I
wanted to try
forgot
that.
about that.
I always wanted to try that, but like get McDonald's coffee and go there and then they refill it and just start eating McDonald's there and they try to ask me to leave. Say, "Get away from me, racist."
This is one of the videos we should do. We should go to one of the super woke coffee places in Austin, you and me, find some pink-haired, they them, white, of course, working behind a barista working behind the counter, and we should just go in and secretly film you being like, when they ask for you to pay, being like, "Pay? Reparations, bitch." Like, just see what happens.
And then I moonwalk out of there.
Moonwalk out, because you know what? If we tried that in 9 or 10 different woke coffee shops, I think at least in 2 or 3, they would give you the coffee for free,
I think you're right.
maybe more.
Mm.
Yes,
Extra
film it.
black.
To get extra black. Okay, we're gonna show this video, but G-Man, hello G-Man. Good to see you here. He says they're already doing this in sports. The NBA subsidizes the WNBA, and nobody likes watching the WNBA.
Anybody watches WNBA? I'm serious. You watch a single person that has admitted to watching the WNBA? Do you?
No, I mean only because I no. I
Yeah.
do know some because my college roommate was dating some of the basketball player on the men's basketball team and the women's basketball team.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
it's a long story.
Wow, I never heard of her. Group of that.
Anyway, she watches the WNBA, but that's a specialized case.
Probably watching for the
Um,
wrong reasons. Okay.
huh?
Like the way she's watching for the wrong reasons, like the way I watch gymnastics.
Yeah, she's looking for a next person to date. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
So we
Which
get
one are we watching?
the AI thing. So people haven't heard. So there was a person on YouTube that changed the face of the Black Mermaid in the trailer to a white woman using a artificial intelligence program, and he caught a permanent ban from Twitter for doing so.
It's crazy that he got banned. Oh well, but
It's not
it's to be
surprising. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, people can be so pissed.
it's to be expected now.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
can
I
you
think
see
it's
that?
funny. It's like you're taking a white person, making them black, and then turning them back white. So yes, there you
Let me make it a little larger. Okay, so this guy, Jesse Moriarty Berhard, got a permanent ban for this. He said, "Credits to our memer artificial intelligence scientist. He fixed the Little Mermaid and turned the woke actor into a ginger white girl. He says he can fix the whole movie when it comes out within 24 hours. It's over for woke cells." And then you can look here and see they made it look like a real person. They replaced her. And it was a video clip. I can't play it because this is a screenshot of what used to be the video clip, but he got permanently banned.
go. I sent you the video clip.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you want to pull that up?
Oh, okay.
I
Let
mean,
me pull that up.
it still
I,
has a sound in it, so maybe you have to
oh, is
manage.
it this one
I
here?
yeah. It's not exactly that one, but it's a little bit longer than that.
I could
It's amazing, like
I could
how well it's like
What?
it's amazing how good it looks, but it's kind of scary. You think about these deep fake type technology.
Yes, the
It's
deep fake technology.
I'm
That's
really surprised like politicians haven't used that. Like if like Joe Biden's son was like, "Ah, is that me?" With the
I think some of the Q people think that they have used it.
uh,
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Master Face Theater. What a great screen name, Master Farce Theater. Okay. Master Farce Theater is good too. Yeah, Twitter would treat this as a crime. Yes. Master Farce Theater. Okay. We've got a couple of other things to show you guys. Here's one. I'm going to pull this up. I didn't send you this, but this highlights the hypocrisy. This is one of the reasons why people are pissed. And it has nothing to do with the Disney princess being black. Nobody gave a crap when they made Cinderella black. It has to do with what's been happening the past few years. So if you haven't been paying attention and you're here going like, what are these people talking about? Woke ideology, social justice ideology has become culturally dominant. It is the number one religion in the United States and in other parts of the Western world. It has very hypocritical rules. One of these rules is that it is a good thing to take white characters, some of them fictional characters, and some of them actual like historical figures, to take white historical figures and white characters and to swap the race. Woke says that's a good thing, that it's diversity and we should celebrate it and we should applaud it. And if you don't like it, they say, what's wrong with you? You're a racist. Woke also says that you can't do the opposite, that a white person cannot play a character, a fictional character, or a historical figure who's not white, that it must never be done. And in the past few years, they call it whitewashing. If you do a quick Google search, you can find this on your own. Just look for whitewashing in Hollywood. You'll find a ton of these articles where the cathedral, which is like what some of us call the media, the whole machine, the media, the entertainment world, they put out story after story where they attack any film, any piece of entertainment where you have a white actor portraying a character or a historical figure who was not white. They even go after, what's his name? Hank Azaria in The Simpsons. Stepped down and said he's deeply sorry for playing Apu on The Simpsons. That happened. A cartoon character for doing an Indian voice is not allowed. So here's one article. This is why people are pissed, because this is hypocritical. Okay, let's see. This is from IndieWire. It's 25 worst cases of Hollywood whitewashing since the year 2000. So these are recent ones. We're not stretching back into time and looking at some of the ones that even I think are offensive. We're looking at more recent ones. So this says the conversation surrounding Hollywood whitewashing was reignited yet again this week when Ed Skrein was cast as Major Ben Daimo. I'm going to mess up these words. I'm sorry. In Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen, and then dropped out after backlash erupted over an English actor taking on a Japanese American character. His decision to leave the film was a smart one. But his original casting is just the latest in an ongoing trend in which minority film roles are given to white actors. Everyone from Angelina Jolie to Anthony Hopkins, Emma Stone, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Scarlett Johansson have contributed to Hollywood's whitewashing problem. Click through this gallery to see the worst whitewashing cases of the 21st century. Okay, so we've got one here. Annalee Tipton in Warm Bodies. This young adult zombie romance, Warm Bodies, finds Annalee Tipton playing the role of Nora, who Isaac Marion originally wrote as a half Ethiopian girl in his 2013 novel. Okay, so they have a big problem with a white girl playing someone who's half Ethiopian, a fictional character.
By a zombie?
Huh?
Did she get eaten by a zombie?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I mean, they probably cheer that if they're like, yeah, good thing it wasn't a black person killed by a zombie.
I don't think they would, though. I don't
No,
I don't I
they
think
think the
they
zombie
even want
racist. Why don't you like dark meat zombie?
the black person to be like, they wanna make sure it's the black person eaten by the zombie. They don't really care what the character is, they just want the representation. It's
So
true.
we went from thinking that the black person getting killed first in a horror movie is racist to now it's celebrated. Yeah,
Now
sweet.
it's celebrated. Here we go. Angelina Jolie and A Mighty Heart. Angelina Jolie earned some of the best reviews of her career with A Mighty Heart, despite the fact that she was playing the role of Marianne Pearl, who is mixed race. Pearl's father was Dutch Jewish and so white, right? Okay. And her mother was Afro Chinese Cuban. The real Marianne gave Jolie her blessing to play the part before she signed on. And yet, so they say she earned some of the best reviews of her career, meaning she did a great job. She did a great job in the film, best reviews of her career. And the real person that she was playing, the real Marianne, gave her blessing. And yet, IndieWire says this is awful. This is awful that you would let her play someone who's only half white when she's all white.
She looks a little like Rachel Dolezal there. Like if they
She
made a
does.
Rachel Dolezal biopic, I think Angelina Jolie should play her.
I think she should play Rachel Dolezal. I agree. And I think she passes here, actually.
Hmm.
Doesn't she?
Yeah, it looked like they probably darkened her skin a little bit, just slightly.
Yeah. It's all about the hair. They nailed the hair. Okay. The second of Angelina Jolie's whitewash roles was her turn as Fox in the adaptation of Mark Millar and J.G. Jones' comic book series Wanted. Fox was written as an African-American woman and was partly inspired by Halle Berry. Side note, I saw this stuff about Little Mermaid when they were talking about the actress who's in the role. Her name is Halle Bailey.
It's
But
not
at
very.
first,
It's very confusing. Yeah, I was like, it's Halle Berry. Like what?
I thought it was Halle Berry, and at first I was like, they're not concerned about the age, just the race.
She did so well in the Catwoman movie, so they thought they put her in Little Mermaid.
Anthony Hopkins in The Human Stain. One of the main characters in Philip Roth's novel, The Human Stain, is an African-American professor named Coleman Silk who passes as white. Anthony Hopkins was cast in the role for Miramax's adaptation. They're mad that he's playing someone who's supposed to look white and pass as white.
Yeah. Sure
How dare you? You found someone who passes as white to play this role. How dare you?
Yeah, I'm sure there was a large pool of people that would have showed up to the casting call who it's like, well, you need a black person that looks like they're exactly white.
Yeah.
It's like people never think like maybe the pool of this particular minority set isn't very large, like that ones that want to be actors, and maybe within that, these people aren't that great of actors, not because of their race or gender, just for whatever reason, just maybe they're not that good.
Okay, Ben Affleck, Argo. Best Picture winner Argo is one of the highlights of Ben Affleck's career. Okay, again, he must have done a great job, right? Highlights of his career. But his decision to cast himself as the lead, Tony Mendez, who in real life is Hispanic, didn't sit right with many. With critics. Carey Mulligan, Drive. Carey Mulligan's role in Drive was originally written as a Latina woman in James Ellis's novel. Mulligan was cast after she met director Nicholas Winding Refn, who felt strongly she was the perfect actress for the part. I mean, this goes on and on. We don't have to look at all these. Christian Bale in Exodus, Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people bring this up, like people who are criticizing those who are mad at Little Mermaid trailer, saying, "Oh, look, you have gods of Egypt, you have a bunch of white people, playing Africans."
Wait, they bring it up how? They bring it up to
Because there's
criticize.
a lot of white people playing Egyptians in this movie, and so
Right.
saying if you accept this, then you should accept Little Mermaid being black.
No, but they're skipping over. Here's the big difference. Here's the big difference. They didn't accept this. They wrote entire articles about this. They said this is bad. This is whitewashing. This is awful. You can't do this. They're effing hypocrites to now say, you can't be upset when a race is swapped, because they've been criticizing so-called whitewashing forever. Like, they say you can't do it. You can't race swap. You can't have a white actor play anyone who's not white. 100% white, too. Angelina Jolie played someone who was half white. Unacceptable. Like, they're hypocrites.
And I don't think it's like just whitewashing too, because you remember when Jennifer Lopez was in a Selena movie? There was a bit of outrage because Selena was Mexican and Jennifer Lopez is Puerto Rican. And so they were upset that she was playing Selena in the biopic movie.
Yes. They're crazy. They also got upset about oh gosh, what was it? The Disney Aladdin. The actress that played Jasmine. She wasn't white. She wasn't white, but they said she was white adjacent. She looked a little white. They're the ones who got mad about that. They were like, here, I bet you, remember our game, Is That Racist?
Is that racist?
Look at this. Look at this article. Okay. Hold on. You guys, this is how crazy they are. This is an article from 2018. Aladdin actor responds to whitewashing criticism. Aladdin actor Naveed in Negaban has responded to recent controversy surrounding the upcoming Disney live-action film. Iranian-born actor Naveed plays the Sultan in the movie, which hit cinemas in 2019 and recently spoke to Huffington Post about accusations of whitewashing surrounding the film. Aladdin stars British actress Naomi Scott in the role of Princess Jasmine. Scott's casting was met with a degree of controversy last year. Scott is of a British and Indian background and not the Arab heritage that fans had expected. Okay, she's Indian, not Arab, so they're pissed.
Yep.
This is, I mean, just to show you what hypocrites they are. Like, that's... She wasn't of color enough for them, or the right of color for them. It's just so specific for them. You can't play anyone. They have to be exactly the percentages of the same, 50% this and 25% this and 25% that. It must be that. Unless it's a white person, then anybody can play them.
It's like you're gonna need DNA tests for people to accept roles now.
Right.
Like I'm surprised they haven't done a Barack Obama biopic. Like maybe they have, and I haven't seen it. Probably like something on Showtime or something. But if they did, they'd probably be. I think they'd be a full black person. I don't think they'd actually like. Well, we got to have a half white, half black person play Obama.
It'd be funny is if they did cast someone who was half black, half white, and they were more, they passed more as white. That would be pretty funny. Because it would be hard to criticize, but they would say this actor is, well, they are 50-50, which is what Obama is 50-50, but does not look black enough.
Let's get Drake. Drake will be every biracial person in the movies.
Okay. Which of these things should I pull up? I have a couple of things also, but which do you want me to pull up?
Let's see.
How about the Pinocchio one?
Yeah, pull up the Pinocchio one. So Pinocchio is another adaptation of an animated movie that just recently came out. Did poorly, and this article kind of goes over that.
Okay, let's read through this. I just got distracted. Animal Mother says, use a browser like Brave with a built-in ad blocker or install AdBlock Plus or something like that. One shouldn't. Oh, I had no idea. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. I'll do that for the next show. I appreciate feedback like that because a lot of times you might think I know something, but I don't. So, okay. Disney's Pinocchio gets destroyed on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. This one, we should do a whole episode on this because this one bothers me. Honestly, the Little Mermaid one, I don't care. Like it's not even my biggest issue with the Disney's Little Mermaid is that the Disney's Little Mermaid is so different from the Hans Christian Andersen. You should read the fairy tale, Chris. It's dark. Like they would never make it. It's really dark. But the Pinocchio really bothers me. The fact that they're wokeifying it because I don't know if you've heard. Have you heard Jordan Peterson's discussion about Pinocchio?
I was thinking about that earlier.
Pinocchio could be read as, and I think Peterson kind of reads it as, an allegory in some ways against collectivism and against totalitarianism and against hedonism, and has a really great message, and now they're perverting it with woke. So that really bothers me. But if you'll scroll down, this says, this should come as no surprise following the number of dislikes on the trailer, as Disney's live-action Pinocchio movie released last week has been destroyed by both Rotten Tomatoes and users on IMDb. And it's not just the fans, the critics agree. Pinocchio released... Oh, really? The critics agree? Wow. I'm shocked.
Me too. Is that weird when you see like the audience is like critics are closer than they are apart?
What? The critics don't like it? Wow. That's amazing.
Bad, man.
It was really bad. Pinocchio, it looks like crap. The CGI looks terrible. Pinocchio, released on Disney Plus on September 8th, only has a 28% Rotten Tomatoes critics score and a 36% audience score. The critic score is worse than the audience score.
I want to watch this movie now.
Oh my goodness. Regarding the trailer, when it was released back in May, fans disliked the Pinocchio trailer so much that the trailer currently has 558,000 dislikes. But don't worry, guys, it has 54,000 likes.
It's changed now. I can give you the update. 47,000 up votes, and then
It lost up votes.
1,000 down.
Wait, how many down votes?
181,000.
Why did it change? Both numbers went down. That's weird. Did they re-upload it maybe?
And another one. I'm looking at the second one that has 10 million views. It came out on the 24th. So unless they're looking at the first one, but
they're looking at the one from May.
Okay, I can see what that one's at right now. The one from May. This one. Yeah, this is the one I talk about. 54,000 upvotes and 572,000 downvotes.
Wow.
And the thing is, I tweeted out a screenshot of the second trailer. I noticed that when I was going through the comments, I couldn't find a single negative comment. And I was thinking, is Disney deleting negative comments? They had to be, because I was going on for pages and pages, scrolling down, and it was just positive comment after positive comment, even though this had way more downvotes than upvotes. And now they've turned off the comments on that video.
Of course they have. Didn't they also, Rings of Power, didn't they also disable reviews on IMDb? And they were going in.
Amazon. I thought it was on Amazon's on.
I think it was both, because I know a lot of IMDb users were posting on Twitter that, like, you're not approving my review. You're taking reviews down now. And they were pointing out exactly what we were talking about. They're like, my review, my criticisms had nothing to do with race. But you took it down and you're calling it racist.
Of course.
Okay. We have a couple more things to show you. I do want to... Oh, Bradley Burnett for $20. Thank you, sir. I love how many people have dogs in their profile pics on View Program.
Easy to please. Just put some dogs in.
It makes me happy.
What about wearing a hat? Ooh.
Or I also like hats. One day, maybe Mystery Chris will come out from behind his avatar and you guys can see he has cool hats as well. Okay. Bradley Burnett says, I first learned of Keri on Friday Night Tights and started watching her videos. Always great conversations. Well, thank you. Most amazing thing to me was we attended the same college, me a few years earlier, but had radically different political experiences. That is interesting. We should talk sometime. I think you may have messaged me on Facebook. There was someone I was talking with. I'm sorry, I'm bad with remembering the names, but yeah, I went to Duke and I came out a social justice warrior. It sounds like you didn't, but you probably didn't minor in women's studies, Bradley, which is where I went wrong. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Which one do you want to put up now? How about the? Oh no, you tell me.
Do we put up the Insider? This is just a brief list of upcoming
Yes.
Disney live action remakes. So we're going to see more of this, and we can try to guess to see which ones we think are going to have swaps.
Well, you already told me that Snow White is not going to be white. That one is actually that one. I don't care about the Little Mermaid, but
Yeah.
Snow White. I mean, it's kind of central to the character and her name. I mean, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Disney has 15 more live action movies of its animated classics planned. Here they all are. Mufasa is going to be played by a white woman. I'm kidding.
Actual lion to voice Mufasa.
Only a lion.
I want to see these get so crazy that they actually do that.
No humans can do the part of Simba. Okay, do you want to read this one?
Okay, so Alan Menken, who worked on the music for the original film, returns for the new movie, which will include songs from Menken and Disney lyricist Howard Ashman. There will also be new songs from Menken and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Disney announced singer Halle Bailey would play the lead role of Ariel in July 2019. Quote, it was very important for us to honor the original beauty of this movie, but also reimagine it and bring some depth and also find a way into this epic piece that was deep and emotional, unquote, director Rob Marshall told 2022's Disney 23 Expo crowd. Aquafina's in it. Oh, she's in it. Davon Diggs. She was in the, I don't know if you saw Shang-Chi. She was kind of annoying in that movie, but David Diggs, Jacob Tremblay, Javier Bardem's in it. Melissa McCarthy, that's right. She plays Ursula in it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so anyway, and this just kind of goes down. We just scroll down, look at the different movies coming out. This Peter Pan movie, I think they just released the poster for it. It's coming out. It's called Peter and Wendy Yep. And I don't know if, Yara Shut. Well, that's definitely not a white name. Tinkerbell. So we got that, which I'm.
Oh, this is Tinkerbell.
That's her.
Oh, yes. Okay, so it's a black Tinkerbell, which is also what they did to the Blue Fairy in Pinocchio. Is they made.
Tell if that was a woman or a trans individual.
I think it was a woman, a black woman.
Okay.
But a black woman with a shaved head, and I'm not sure though.
But yeah, so they're coming out with another Peter Pan movie, and they keep failing. The only one I ever liked is Hook. I don't care what movie. I love that movie. I actually sort of liked the last one. It was a bad movie. The one with Hugh Jackman that came out where Captain Hook was like a good guy. That's a dumb movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie, but anyway, so it keeps scrolling. It goes through some other movies that are coming out. There's the Mufasa, which I guess it's going to be a prequel unless he comes back.
The origin story of Mufasa. Again, no new ideas really. I mean, at least they're trying to make something new and they're not just remaking The Lion King. But again, you got to do an origin story now. Why don't you just do why don't you do the Tiger King? Oh, the Tiger King already happened. Why don't you do something about another animal?
Keep going down. There's the Snow White
Snow White.
that no one's gonna go see because these movies,
Okay.
action movies, from I don't think they've been doing well. I don't think Lion King did well. I know Dumbo didn't do well. Not sure about the Jungle Book. What else? Live
This is the
action.
new
I don't know if
this
anyone
is
saw
the new
that.
Snow White. Rachel Zegler. She's pretty.
But she's
Let me
not
get-
white.
She's not. I can't really tell actually. She's white passing like Anthony Hopkins. Okay.
That
There's
one, Hawaii. They're Hawaiian, so that should be easy casting, right?
Disney is set to release a live action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch. Are they going to make her white? No.
I doubt it. She's like what, Hawaiian or Polynesian or something.
Hmm. They probably will not race swap this character.
This is what I'm wondering. Do you think because they can't? I mean, this is historical. I know, it's fantasy.
Read the.
And
Oh,
Disney's
sorry.
working on an adaptation of 1996 Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, that's all right. So yeah, this movie's coming out, and I don't think they've given a date, and I don't know if they cast it yet. But I'm really wondering if what they're gonna do. If they're gonna have a white guy play it, or are they gonna? I mean, you can't. It's a kind of a period piece. I know it's fantasy, like it's not real care, but
I don't know. I think they'll probably. Oh,
you think they still make them?
I mean, they're at the point now where they just seem like they keep doubling down. Like they just kind of, like I said, you were saying they have this playbook, and they want to both piss off one portion of the audience, the potential audience, like piss that part off completely and say we don't care if you come see it, and then use the fact that they're pissed off to create a narrative that there's like a bunch of evil, racist, sexist, villains out there who are trying to review bomb this very bad movie and to get people to go to it. I think that's their. I know somebody in the chat was like, "Yeah, but they're not actually selling." I know that's true. They're not doing well, but that is their selling tactic. That is how they're trying to sell these things, is by creating a controversy.
But if they do this movie with a white guy, then they're obviously going to have a counterpart, female counterpart, who will be the actual star of the movie, because that's what they do. Because when they announce movies, they're like, "Oh, an actual male lead," and then like, "Oh no, there's a female who's really the main protagonist."
Like He-Man.
Yeah,
Didn't they do that with He-Man?
I think so. Yeah, I didn't watch the Kevin Smith cartoon. They concentrated on She-Ra from what I hear.
This one says a sequel to the live action Aladdin is in the works. Okay, so they're coming up with a sequel, and this is the movie that got criticized for whitewashing because the Jasmine was played by an Indian woman instead of an Arabic woman.
Who's going to play the genie now? Do you think they'll bring Will Smith back?
No, it says no Will Smith.
Oh, that's too bad. It'd be funny if like they gave Chris Rock all of Will Smith's like roles that he's going to do in the movies.
An Aladdin spinoff featuring Prince Anders is also in development. So they're doing an Aladdin sequel and an Aladdin spinoff.
Who watched the live action Aladdin movie to begin with? Just like the WNBA, I don't know anybody who's seen it.
No, I don't know. No new ideas. Robin Hood is getting remade for Disney.
But he's a fox, I think.
He is a fox. Live action Hercules is expected to get a theatrical release. I think you're right about this too. They can't have Hercules be like a masculine alpha.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to make the female character more prominent.
Yeah.
She'll have to be like the true hero.
Who's stronger than Hercules.
Yes. Speaking of, can I interrupt this? Well, let's finish this list and I'll tell you about a movie that I saw. Disney is remaking 1963's The Sword and the Stone, which follows a young King Arthur and his lessons with the wizard Merlin.
they gonna do with that one?
I don't know. We should take bets. Bambi will be getting remade for a new generation.
I mean, even if just divorce the woke stuff, it's just still to me, it's just depressing. Just going back and literally doing every single animated movie, but in live action form. It's like they're not even trying.
Yeah. And they're saying it won't be live action with a real deer, rabbit, and skunk. They're going to utilize the technology that helped bring the Lion King remake to life to look photorealistic. Why? Why not just show kids Bambi? Okay. We haven't heard updates on the rest of these films in a while. The Jungle Book sequel was originally announced years ago. And so then they have a section on James and the Giant Peach, and which they're in talks about, but they don't know. Peter Pan's fairy companion Tinkerbell was reportedly getting her own live action film too. Of course, they've made her black in the new Peter Pan. Okay, that's our list. I think there's going to be a lot more race and gender swapping going on. I did want to tell you about a movie I saw on the plane. I saw finally Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, how was it?
It was excellent. People told me that I would enjoy it. And, sometimes when you go into a movie like that, there's a chance that people have built it up too much and then you're disappointed. But I wasn't. It was perfect. It was also maybe perfect, like a perfect plane movie or a movie theater movie. It's a perfect summer movie. Let me tell you about anybody who hasn't seen it yet. You should go watch Top Gun Maverick. I don't even usually like Tom Cruise, and I liked him a lot in this. He was excellent. It made me it was nostalgic. Yes, it made me think of an 80s movie. It was from using some of the old music and some of the old scenes and like a lot of callbacks to the original Top Gun. That was great. But it wasn't just that. It was also the way the film was made. It was like a perfect summer movie. It's just an action film. It's just an action film with the A storyline of the Maverick, the bad boy hero, bonding with other alpha males, has almost the same kind of story arc as the original Top Gun, where you've got these two different alpha males who are kind of rivals who end up becoming friends by the end, who work it out, through teamwork. And it's got that thing going on. It's got a B storyline, like a love interest. They showed a straight couple on screen. Wow.
What's
the
that?
woman that he's in love with, and it has a good message at the end. He tells her he's not going to leave her again. You get the impression, okay, they're going to have a little family now. Like it's like pro family, pro masculinity, pro being the best, talking about being the most talented. It's all about meritocracy. It's all about like, these are the best of the best fighter pilots. They did make one of the pilots a woman. I didn't care. It was like, it didn't matter. They didn't beat you over the head with it. It was almost like the Battlestar casting. It was like, it didn't matter. That wasn't the point of the film. And so I wasn't looking at it, although I'm hypercritical now because we live in this woke entertainment world where I'm like, at first when I saw her, I was like, oh God, they're going to make her like the best pilot. And they didn't. She was just one of the pilots. She was one of a great cast of many talented cast members. And it was fun. There was a, oh my gosh, there was a scene where they're on the beach and they're playing football, and it's all these very fit masculine men with their shirts off, running around, playing football. What?
You like this scene, eh?
I did like this scene as a woman. Of course, I appreciate this scene. Also, I appreciated it because they didn't do like, oh, my body type is not represented. They didn't care about any of that.
Not a bunch of dad bods out there playing.
No, they didn't make any of the pilots fat. They didn't do any of that. Like, that would have, can you imagine if they had been like, we need to have some genderqueer fat pilots? in the football scene. No, they went straight like the most fit, the most talented alpha men. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Top Gun Maverick. Also, Jennifer Connelly was smoking hot. Bradley says,
Oh, she's
yes.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us like a hot. Oh, also, I'm tired of the. Have you noticed this? They don't have love interest B storylines anymore. Why not? They don't have them as much as they used to. And I'm like, that's part of why you went to the movies. You watch the action is the A storyline, and then you get your B love interest storyline for the ladies and some of the guys.
Not,
And what?
not me. No.
You didn't care about the B storyline?
Yeah, no, I don't. I always hated the love interest in movies.
Really?
In like superhero films. It's like I want to see Batman kick ass, not get some ass.
But see, if you include the B storyline, then you can take your lady with you and you both have a great time. I like to see Batman kick ass and get ass. I loved his storyline with Catwoman. Speaking of, on the plane, on the way there, I also watched The Batman, which I had not yet seen.
What did you think of that one?
You were so right. The Gothic architecture was amazing. Visually, it was a beautiful film. I didn't even realize that Batman was played by that guy.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes, it didn't even look like him.
Oh.
He did a great job. It didn't even look like. I thought I don't really like him, but again, he did a great job. I didn't mind that guy, and
Pretty good actor. You know, I was biased because you know it was like, oh, it's the Twilight dude. But I saw him in Tenet. I was like, he's pretty good.
he's pretty good. It was great. The one thing that really bothered me, you can guess it, probably.
The line.
The line. So they've got Catwoman who just in the middle of talking with Batman about like, you know, come and fight these bad guys with me my way, you know, let's go on the road and steal things and do whatever together, you know. Basically, she and Batman approach the evils of the world in a different way. He doesn't want to be changed by the abyss. He doesn't want to become the monster he's fighting. And she doesn't mind becoming the monster she's fighting. Two different approaches to fighting evil. She's trying to convince him to come over and become the monster with her. And the scene is great until she says, these guys that she wants to take revenge on, until she says, you know, they're just a bunch of white privileged male assholes. And it's like, oh, God, such a letdown. Why do you have to inject that garbage into the middle of what was otherwise a very entertaining film? Why?
That took me out of that movie
Yes.
for a while. It took me because I was like so angry. Like, why did this didn't have to be there? Could have cut out the white part and just say privileged. Still would have worked. But I just kept thinking about it for a while. It just took me a while to get back into the movie.
Yeah, it was so clunky. I think she said white male privileged. It's like, it's so clunky. The language is clunky. You know, when you're writing that, it sounded terrible in the writer's room and you guys left it in anyway. You know, when you screenshot it, like, and you guys are like making the edits and you're looking at it and you're like, it sounded clunky and you knew it and you still left it in, this ideological garbage. It took me out of the film too. That one freaking line. Why? Also, the mayor was a black woman and I didn't have it's not about the race of the character if the character's good and that's not the purpose. Like Catwoman wasn't white, it doesn't matter. But the mayor, I just felt like that character would never have been mayor in that town, that dark and gloomy Gothic town. Do you know what I mean? Like she seemed out of place, like she was in the wrong movie. Didn't she?
Yeah.
Like that city would not have voted for her.
Racist Gotham City.
I don't think they would have voted for her. She was like a black Karen.
So how many hats would you give the score for the movie? How many hats out of 10 hats?
How many hats?
That needs to be our new like scoring
Is that
metric
our thing?
for movies. How many hats?
Oh, that's fun. I would have given it a 9, except for that line really Huh?
9 hats. That's a lot.
No. Except for that line and the mayor. And gonna give it a 6.
Okay. Yeah, it's close to what I give it. Six hats.
Yeah. Somebody says that is racism. What is racism? You have to be more specific. I'm not sure. Therese says Erica. Yeah, she was like an Erica. She was an Erica, and I don't think that Gotham would have elected an Erica or Karen. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We've got a couple more. You guys, I hope you're having fun. We're having fun. Bradley Burnett, thank you. Gives another super chat. He says, College Kerry would have hated me. I was treasurer for College Republicans. And I wrote for the Duke Review, but I did run the Dungeons and Dragons Club. Any points for that? Of course. And actually, I probably would have hated you, and you would have had every right to despise me because I was a woke little Anita Franco listening, combat boot wearing. I pretty much had a uniform. I wore overalls and combat boots every day.
What are you preparing to fight? The patriarchy, huh?
Yeah, it was fun. I lived in the women's studies dorm. I wasn't just a women's studies minor. I lived in the women's studies dorm.
Nightmare.
As a cult member.
Women's studies dorm. Oh,
yeah, we had one. The Front Porch Conservative gives a super chat of $4.99. Thank you. Sorry, he says, good evening, Lady Keri and Sir Christopher. Live action versions of Hunchback and Hercules make no sense. The animated films came from prior films. Oh, that's right. It's like there already is a live action.
Arnold Schwarzenegger played, I think, Hercules, I believe, one of his earliest films where they had to dub over because his accent was so bad.
Bradley Burnett, thank you. $10 says Disney cannot remake The Hunchback of Notre Dame because Christianity. It will be Hunchback of the Great Mosque of Mecca. Esmeralda will be fully clothed, mask and all. Dude, Bradley, you have to tune in for our woke-tacular because this is what it's going to be. We're going to be writing woke movie scripts, and we have to remember to let's read this again in our woke-tacular. Okay. I think we're caught up. Are we? Can you see? I can't see.
Can't see.
Yeah, I think we're caught up. Okay. You also queued up some funny stuff.
Yeah, the article on Ice Cube's television show from 2006.
Okay, before we do that, can we show the touching video that we didn't show yet?
Yeah, we can show that.
Okay. So this is to backtrack to our point before, which I think you and I agree on, right? Which is that I think representation does matter. I think it does have a positive impact on children to see people who look like them in the media, but I don't think it's the be all end all, and I don't think it's necessary for a character to look like you for you to be able to identify with them. That's ridiculous. We've all identified with characters who are not our sex or our race. Everyone. So it's nonsense to say that you can't. But at the same time, I think you're lying if you say that it doesn't have a positive impact on a child to see that someone who looks like them. So here we go. Let's show this.
Remember when I was a kid on a playground, we played Ghostbusters. I always wanted to be Egon. All the white friends maybe be Winston.
Did it scar you for life?
It did. It's like, I'm Egon. I was like, yeah, that's nice, Winston. Go get our proton packs.
And you were like, but I identify as Egon.
Yeah. That's why I like playing the Ninja Turtles, because they're all the same color. Although, if we're being honest, Ralph was the black one. We all know that.
Which one were you? I was Leonardo.
I wanted to be Leo because
why?
Because he's the leader.
Yeah.
Michelangelo because he's the fun guy. Although probably should have been Donatello. He was the smart guy. He was the brains. He didn't get enough credit.
My favorites were Leonardo and Donatello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor Ralph.
So you guys, these are compilations that people are putting up of their daughters, black daughters, seeing the black Ariel in the trailer for the first time.
What'd she say?
She said, I think she's brown. Brown Ariel.
Brown Ariel is cute.
Let's see if they have more. Well, I think this is the only one in here.
Another
But
one,
yeah,
but
there were quite a few of these, and they are touching. Like,
well, people are posting them saying, you know, this is why representation matters, and they're like using this against people who are against those of us who don't like, you know, taking a white character and making him black. And I see a lot of people putting out kind of a more straw man argument where they're saying that those of us who are against this just don't want to see like a black mermaid or whatever. I saw like someone came out with some scientist or something. I was like trying to explain that they could be black mermaids or whatever, or something like that. And I was like, that's not the issue. I mean, most people, I can't speak for everyone, but most people are just they're upset at, you know, what's blatantly obvious of just taking the white characters, making them black, and trying to, you know, blame fans, call them racist for not wanting to see this. I don't think most people would have a problem if there was like an original character who was black and, you know, a mermaid and some new thing. Like if there was a black mermaid and Aquaman or something, I don't think people would have a problem with that. Most people.
mm-mm.
But it's like this thing, this whole obsession with race is just turning people off to, you know, um, diversity or representation, and it's just making people sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm black, and I'm like, I'm sick of it because, like, in the past, it's like, okay, yeah, you want to have some stories about racism or sexism, fine, but it's like that's all we see, and that doesn't match what a lot of us can observe in the real world or what we can look up and, you know, FBI's, you know, statistics and see how there's not an epidemic of, you know,
Yeah.
people killing black people the way, you know, Hollywood wants us to believe. And so there's a lot of people who are just completely turned off to any of it, and it's like they're pushing people further to the extremes, like they want that so they
Oh,
can point and see, look, there's the white supremacist extremists. They're making especially white people a lot more race conscious, because a lot of
yes.
people who went around not thinking about
Yes.
being white that much. It's just like, oh, all right, whatever. But now, if they're in a world where everybody, you know, is allowed to have the in-group preference, where there's complete double standard in the way people are treated based on race, there's a lot of people who are going to start to embrace, you know, their, you know, whiteness in a
Oh,
way they
that's
don't.
what they want, though. That's what
Yeah.
the architects of this woke ideology want.
Mm-hmm.
They want to create white identitarians. They want to, just
Mm-hmm.
like they want to create black identitarians, and they want us all divided along race. They do not, the architects, I'm not saying the true believers who are in it with good intent and buy into all the bullshit and have been brainwashed. I'm not saying those naive people, but the architects of it know what this does. And that's what they want. I'm convinced. They
Yeah.
want people at each other's, they want racism. They want people to hate each other based on groups, based
Yes.
on race, based on sex, class, everything. They want us divided, and
Bal-
race is a great way to divide us.
yeah. They're balkanizing us. Yes.
Yes, they are. Therese says, just come up with new princesses and characters. Yeah, I agree.
Didn't they
Why
have a
not?
princess? Like Disney came out with like original black princess like a
Yeah, they
decade.
did. What was her name? The frog, was it the frog?
Was that the one, Princess and the Frog or
The
something?
Princess and the Frog, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
Um,
They're not making. Why aren't they making a live action version of that? Hmm.
because they have to take old properties. You know why.
I know.
John says Gabriella was a mermaid. Why not make a movie about that character? That's true. In the animated series of Ariel, the Disney's area, in the animated series of the Little Mermaid, she had a friend who was a mermaid named Gabriella who was black. Why not do a spinoff with that character? The Princess and the Frog, people said. Yeah, it was in 2009.
Yeah.
Bradley Burnett, thank you for the super chat. Says race swapping actually diminishes the culture of other races. Don't insert people of color into Caucasian mythology and stories. Tell the true myths and stories of other cultures and appreciate them for what they are. I agree. Well, they are choosing not to tell the myths and stories of other cultures, which I think is kind of lazy. You could come and bring new stories. Aren't they? What about this the Woman King?
I was about to say that. Yeah, that's coming out this week. If you want, hey, you can pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score. See what the critics are giving it.
Have you already looked at this?
I did. Let's see.
I'm actually excited for this movie. Are you not?
It's like-
Oh, the critics give it a 98%.
it was like a couple hours ago. It was at 100%.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't usually trust the
That
critics.
good? Because this is
Hmm?
this is essentially Black Panther 2 before Black Panther 2 comes out. Because they're hyping this up, empowering. This is the new, myth for Black people that, we can all supposedly buy into and, have culture and feel good about ourselves.
Well, at least it's a new story.
Well,
At least it's new characters.
They're I'm concerned about how they're, where they're going to take it, as we talked about the whole selling slaves to the white man.
Yeah. Well, they're probably going to ignore that.
I think yeah. If they do, there'll be a quick line. I don't think they'd even devote much attention to it, even if they do bring it up. I don't think so, because that undermines the heroic aspect of the way these women characters are being positioned.
What year does this take place in?
I want to say 1850s, but I could be wrong.
It would be funny if it was like, well, yeah, we are a slave trading culture, and that's what we're known for, but it's only because of the white privileged male slave buyers.
No, they're blaming it on the black man. How about the black man? And all the women are against the slave trade. But
yes, the green man says, "Is this the tribe that were slavers in real life?" Yes, they were. They were. Okay. I think we're caught up. Now we're going to show something funny.
Yeah. There is a little bit of like Ice Cube's music in it. I don't know if we want to mute it or not when you hit the video is embedded in the article.
Oh, wait. Let's end on your funny thing, but before we do, I want to show you something.
Oh, all right.
I forgot. I have this thing, which I don't know if you were aware of this. So, in Copenhagen, there is a statue for the Little Mermaid, which again was a fairy tale, a very dark fairy tale, written by Hans Christian Andersen. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
So this is an article from 2020 from ABC News. It says Denmark, statue of Little Mermaid vandalized again. The statue of Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid, a famed Copenhagen landmark, has been vandalized. The famed statue of Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid, one of Copenhagen's biggest tourist draws, has been vandalized with the text "racist fish." The words were tagged on the stone on which the often attacked 1.65 meter high bronze is sitting at the entrance of the Copenhagen harbor. No one has taken responsibility for the act. The statue was created in tribute to the Danish storyteller Andersen. It has long been a popular target for vandals who have blown her off her perch, beheaded her, and painted her.
Jeez.
The bronze is based on a mythical sea king's mermaid daughter who, according to the Hans Christian Andersen tale, falls in love with the prince and longs to become human. Last month, a statue in Copenhagen of a Danish missionary who was key to the colonization of Greenland was doused with red paint and the words "decolonize." It is not known whether the two cases of vandalism were linked. Statues and monuments around the world are being reconsidered in light of racial justice demonstrations following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. This is a statue.
A mermaid statue.
Yes. Can you believe it? This is a statue of the Little Mermaid in Denmark, and someone spray painted racist fish on it because of George Floyd.
I don't even know what to say.
Rights activists on Thursday accused Danish officials of being unable to recognize racism after authorities said the killing of a biracial man by 2 white men was not racially motivated. Wait, I wanted to show you the picture. It doesn't have the picture here. Hold on.
So Starbucks gonna have to take their mermaid off of their logo.
I don't know.
Just replace it with Aunt Jemima and be all right. It's got to come back eventually. It's empowering, right?
Here we go. Wait, make that joke again. I didn't hear it.
No, I was just saying they should replace the Starbucks
With Aunt Jemima?
Aunt Jemima, yeah.
She needs a job. They got rid of her. They fired her.
And Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben needs a job too. They laid him off, and the Land O'Lakes girl.
He's such an inspiration to Spider-Man. How could they do that to him?
Okay, look at this. Can you see that image?
Yeah.
They spray.
That's not a fish.
Racist fish.
Why? They don't know how to spell mermaid?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're running out of spray paint.
Spray paint, or I think they're just trying to be insulting. Further, like insult. It's it's not even a mermaid. And why racist? Because it was a white character, and it was written by a white man. Like what? And by the way, I guarantee you, a white person spray painted this.
Mm-hmm.
It was a white woke person. Anyway, that's my thing. Okay, now we're gonna do this fun. You guys.
So
you have to set this up.
So this I randomly came across this today. So this is making the rounds now. Apparently, Ice Cube had a reality TV show in 2006 where he had a white family and a black family, and then he race swapped them. So he put the white family in white or black makeup and put the black family in white makeup and had the show.
I cannot believe this. The headline here is "People shocked by race swap series and call it, quote, worst reality show ever."
It's so bad.
And look at these pictures. They put the white family in blackface. And they put the black family in whiteface.
It's so awesome.
Titled Black White. The series was produced by Ice Cube and aired on FX. FX? That's where our show aired. Those guys are dumb. I'm kidding. Social media users are struggling to comprehend the existence of a reality TV show that saw participants swap races. The old series was thrust into the spotlight recently after a social media user stumbled across it and shared a clip from the show on Twitter, writing, "Accidentally came across the worst reality show to ever be conceived." Did you watch this?
Yeah, it's just a brief intro. If you want to, you can play it. Just mute it because I guess Ice Cube's music plays. And
okay.
Chances are. So an ad's going to come out, so you're going to have to talk over the stupid ad.
No, I don't want to know more about that.
It will go away, won't it?
It's not going away. Okay, hold on.
It's an awesome show, apparently.
It doesn't want us to watch this.
It reminded me of the movie Soul Man, which you still need to do the Problematic Film Club.
Yes, we're going to do that.
Yeah, maybe what?
I don't think it's going to show. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. Oh, wait.
Was ever done.
I don't like being made up.
And none of us will be the same again.
Please don't believe.
One black family, one white family, under one roof, living in each other's skin.
Oh, I love this.
Are you going to go watch the whole thing?
Yes.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In a similar vein to the more successful series Wife Swap, the series featured two families who set out to experience life in each other's shoes. Rather than swapping houses and husbands, though, Black White saw the families living under the same roof while swapping races. In the clip shared online, the Sparks, a black family, were made over to look white, while a white family, the Wurgles, received black makeup and wigs in an attempt to live life similar to that of their fellow participants. In an article written about the series at the time, The Guardian described how Miss Wurgle's boyfriend, Bruno Marticuli, repeatedly used the N-word and claimed that he, quote, he looked forward to having someone use the term towards him. After, what are you looking forward to on this show? I can't wait for someone to call me the N-word.
You can't do nothing. He's in the black makeup.
After wearing black makeup for a few days, the boyfriend is said to have told Mr. Sparks, who was black, that his problems with race were in his mind, telling him, quote, I'm trying to enlighten you to the fact that you've got to approach life in a certain way and not expect that you're being mistreated because you're black. They won an Emmy for best makeup. Wow.
Look how different the world was. A few years ago.
Oh my goodness. Wow, The Guardian reports the producers of the series made efforts at the time to ensure viewers would not find the show offensive, including putting on a special screening for the NAACP. Oprah Winfrey is also said to have been a fan of the show, invited participants of the series onto her show to share their experiences. But look, now, apparently people online really hate it. They say,
of course,
the woke hate it. But how funny. I'm going to watch this too. Maybe we...
Probably Justin Trudeau's favorite show too.
Justin Trudeau. Okay. That's really funny. Oh my goodness. You guys, we should do a whole night where we just watch the show. Thank you. Thank you for finding that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap it up. We're over 2 hours. You think?
Yeah, it's good. We had fun. It was a fun show.
It was fun. I missed you. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad we did this night. Even though, you guys, I'm jet lagged. My flight was delayed. I didn't get in until like 3:30 in the morning. So I'm a little, and I'm just on it doesn't matter. I'm fine. We did it. Maybe that's why my brain wasn't working well. So we'll blame it on that. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't yet, please consider going and subscribing to our new pop culture channel. I will drop the link in the chat again, or I'll try to. We are going to start streaming there soon. We're branching out. Pop culture will be on its own channel, and we hope that you will subscribe. It costs nothing to subscribe. You just go over there and hit the button, and it's not mandatory yet. Just encouraged.
Yeah, I'm good. This is Anthony Fauci. I'm going to need you to subscribe to Pop Chat.
I'm going to need you to subscribe if you'd like to keep your job. Here it is. Oh, I can't. Ah, crap. I can't copy and paste. Anyway, we'll put the link. We'll put the link in the description, and we'll put it in a pinned comment below the video, so you can go and subscribe there. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are reading Political Ponerology for book club. You should go out and get it. If you get it, make sure you get the version with the foreword by Michael Rechtenwald, because there's a lot of stuff at the beginning that's new, and that's the version I'm reading, and I think you'll really like that version. I don't know if it's on Audible. People said they were having trouble finding it, but somebody found a YouTube version, I think, if you prefer listening. But I will say, if you're part of book club and you're able to, I would get the actual book version of this one, because there's so much stuff in it. I listen to a lot of the books on tape myself, but this is one of those where you're probably going to want to be highlighting and making notes and stuff. It's so good. So I hope you'll join us. I am pumped about this book. I think everyone should read it, and happy to be back. Happy to hang out with you, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, you as well. I'm glad you're back. We're going to have some good shows coming up, so
we do.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our new pop culture channel, guys. Please. Woketacular. and my brain's done. It's done. I've got to get it done.
Shutting down.
Powering down now. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.